I'm Serena.
I'm Paige. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Did you find the place okay?
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice drive.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Alrighty, so I'm going to be your counselor. Before we do begin our session, though, I do have to go over our client confidentiality form. Basically, it's just a rundown of what's expected and also our limitations as a service. So we'll read through it. If you do see anything that strikes you as not acceptable, then you can let me know. But if everything checks out, then we can go ahead and sign that and begin. Okay? Perfect. All right. So Durham College Counseling Services is a free voluntary program that provides individuals with one-on-one personal support from the student counselor in training, who is myself, who is currently studying in the social service worker program. So if you agree to participate in the service, we commit to do our best and try to assist you in any sort of goals you'd like to achieve. However, please understand that while, for the most part, individuals benefit from our service, there are factors we cannot control, and therefore we cannot guarantee that your circumstances will improve. But we'll definitely do our best to try to help you with that. The length of involvement at the service is at your discretion. So if you feel as though you benefit from one session, that's amazing. If you feel as though you need to have ongoing help, we can definitely do that for you too, okay? In addition, your involvement with the information shared with your student counselor in training, so myself, is confidential, meaning that I will protect your personal information in all cases, except for the following.
Okay.
So the first being a release of information form has been signed by you, allowing personal information to be shared with a particular person, agency, or organization. So say you needed to have a note for your doctor, or if you decided to bring a family member in for a session, which we can definitely do, you would have to sign that form just saying that you're welcome to the idea of your information being shared with them as well, okay? Information or a student counselor in training is legally subpoenaed to the courts. So if you were involved in some sort of issue with the law and information was subpoenaed, we would have to release that as well. You were suspected of being at risk of harming yourself or another person, so obviously in that circumstance we would have to let that information be known. Any situations suspected of child abuse, neglect, or domestic violence in the presence of a child. So if there's any indication that anyone else is at harm, we would have to go ahead and let somebody know about that. Or if you report that you're being sexually abused by a regulated health professional. So if it was your doctor or somebody that you went to a hospital, a nurse did something, we would have to let that be known as well. So by signing this form, you're just indicating that you have read through and understand all of the information, and any concerns that you have been resolved. But if you want to go ahead and sign this, then we can get started.
Yeah.
Or if you have any issues.
No, I have no questions about that.
Okay, perfect, absolutely. So if you just want to sign right there. Wonderful. Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. Okay, so let me just sign here too. Okay, perfect. So we can go ahead and begin.
All right.
So what brings you here today?
So I was actually kind of pushed to come today by my friends. They said that they thought I could benefit from it. I have done therapy before, but it's been a long time.
Okay. How long would you say?
It's been about 2 years since I've been.
Okay.
It was when I was a student the last time that I went to therapy, and then of course it's hard to get therapists and stuff when you're not a student. It's expensive, so I kind of am just trying to take advantage of my benefits too, because I definitely did benefit from being in therapy when I was.
Okay, well that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly it was a good path for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good thing you're here, absolutely. So was there anything in particular that brought you in, like any sort of situation, or is it just like an accumulation of things?
So I think more than anything, the thing that it kind of pushed me over is problems with my ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just kind of summarize it all for you. So I met him when I was working out west. So I wasn't living at home.
Okay.
It was just the two of us out there. Our relationship moved pretty fast. We moved in together. It was one of those times where I thought I was in love, and then, I did think I was at the time, but then he just ended things pretty abruptly, and since we lived together, it was kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of just said that we would date with an expiry date and keep living together until the expiry date came, and then I came back to Ontario and started school again. But yeah, it was really hard. And then so after we did break up, I took it really hard, and I was spending a lot of time at home in my bed and not really going out or talking to my friends or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which definitely my mental health was really at a low point. And it's been a while since then, so I've been good, but then recently he kind of has been contacting me again, so it's just really brought me back into it, which is why I thought that I should come here, because like I thought I was over it, but then it just came back.
Just kind of got rekindled a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of sounds like that while you were out there, you made this connection with this person, and I mean, anytime you're in a relationship, it's kind of difficult to gauge how it's going to go, but I mean, sometimes when we're in our relationships for the first time, or it's our first serious relationship, it's kind of like, oh, he's the one for sure. Like, and you do, surround your feelings around him and kind of make him the pinnacle in your life.
Yeah.
Right? And then when that stops, or if that does stop, then it kind of feels like there's nothing all of a sudden.
That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like you're experiencing that emptiness.
Yeah.
And him contacting you again probably brought that back up.
It definitely did.
It did? Okay. Have you spoken to your friends about it at all?
So I have. I've told my friends that he reached out again, and they were kind of just like, oh, don't fall back into it. Like, just like be nice, but end the conversation, because like at one point it was really good, and like we were happy, and like I said, I thought it was real love, and then but like it's not the present, it's not the future, so I do just want to be able to move on from that.
Absolutely. If you don't mind me asking, did anything happen in the relationship that was unsavory, or was it more just the actual abrupt end to it that really kind of knocked you off your feet?
Probably the abrupt end, because it's one of those things, like so many promises are made in a relationship, and then like I got comfortable planning my future with him, and then just one day it felt like I didn't have a future anymore,
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So yeah, one of the more difficult things in that situation is definitely you meet somebody, they're your future, and sometimes we have a tendency as humans to base our future entirely on an individual, something that isn't necessarily constant. And then when that situation ends or dissipates, then we're kind of left feeling like, okay, what do I do next? Like, do I have purpose? Do I have meaning?
Yeah.
Which is very much a soul-crushing feeling to have. It's terrifying. It's also just terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's definitely where I can see some of that, anxiety and depression coming in, because it kind of creeps over you, and you're kind of left thinking, oh boy, what next? Like, really? Especially after, lived with him as well. So that was a big part of your life. How long exactly was the relationship as well?
It was probably about a year, start to finish. So like I said, it did move fast, but when you're out, like, because we were all living away from home, and we were like working together, living together, like spending our free time together, things do move fast, because like it feels like you've known them for so long. So like I didn't really think twice about like moving in with him and everything.
Absolutely, you build your own community, kind of, right? So and people often think that a year isn't a long time in relationships, but when you think about it, like the development that you have with an individual through that time, that's a long time. That's a year of your life, right?
Yeah.
So no, it totally validates exactly what you're saying. It would not be easy to go through that. So I'm sorry that you did go through that. And recently with his messages, what has he been messaging you about? Is he just trying to make a connection again, or is it more so he wants to try to get back together with you? What does it seem to be?
Yeah, so it was actually a rather long message. He pretty much started off being like, hey, I know we don't talk anymore, and then went on saying that that he's been sick recently. So he's actually from Ireland. I guess I probably should have said that. But yeah, he's from Ireland, and then I'm Canadian, and we both worked in the same place that summer. And since, oh my God.
It's okay, you can go on, you got it.
I literally am having a brain freeze. If we hold this position, we can edit it. I'm so sorry, you guys.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Should we stop or keep going?
Let's keep going, it's fine, we can edit it.
Okay. What was I saying? He was from Ireland. What were we talking about?
He was sick recently.
The message. Oh yeah, okay. So sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So Yeah, so he's from Ireland, and apparently he's been sick, so that's all he said. I've been sick recently, and since I don't have healthcare here, he can't afford to like stay, so I'm not sure what that is, but the whole message really brought up feelings, because then he went on to say about how he misses me, and like he just wanted to essentially, before he left, thank me for the time that we had together when we were here. And he was like, they're the best memories I had. He was like, I'm really sad that we don't talk anymore, but I understand why. And then was saying like, I hope you're happy and healthy. So yeah, it brought up a lot of memories, just because it was nice, but at the same time, every time I've ever heard from him, I feel myself like going back into that place that I was at after our breakup the first time. Well, like, not the only time, but like back in the past. So yeah, it's just been hard.
Yeah, does it like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that it would probably make you feel a bit angry?
Yeah, a little bit, kind of, because I feel like he thinks he has the right to come and go when he wants. Because like, even when he was breaking up with me, he said like, I would love to have the future with you, but I can't do the now. And he was like, maybe we could get back together, or like, kind of just like, I can't commit myself to you right now, but I don't want you out of my life completely. So just like, I always thought it wasn't very fair, and that like him trying to come back is kind of him just like keeping his foot in the door almost, is what I feel like from these messages, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
So my response was like nice, but it was pretty
Dry.
yeah, like I just tried to be uninviting. Like I said, like, sorry to hear that you're sick, thank you for the message, I know we don't talk anymore, safe travels. Like, that's essentially what it was. So yeah, I thought I was over it, but then getting that message, I like felt all the anxiety and shakiness coming back from how I was feeling before. So I just kind of, it feels good to talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's honestly, it helps. It helps just to even vent.
Yeah.
You know, especially to maybe someone who isn't involved in the situation. That's
yeah,
what I think
that definitely does help.
counseling is beneficial for that matter. It also sounds like you've built these walls up basically to kind of protect yourself from that happening again. And then the messages he's sending, they're kind of breaking the walls down a little bit, because, you know, it was him that insinuated the breaking up, I believe. Yeah. So him, you know, saying, hey, I don't think we can do this right now. I don't really see this going anywhere, maybe in the future. And then for him to message you back and be like, oh, you know, I still have feelings for you, and, you know, you're so great. It's like, okay, well, if I was so great, why didn't you commit? Like, you know, so I definitely understand where those feelings are coming from. You know, the anxiety, depression. It's pretty normal to feel that. I mean, anyone probably would. In terms of support, you have your friends that are kind of just telling you to, you know, just let it go, and unfortunately it's not that easy sometimes. Have you considered, you said you keep your responses to him relatively dry, but have you considered possibly having a bit of a conversation with him?
I just like, I don't really know what I would say. Yeah. Like, we tried talking in the past, and I used to think like, so it's been, just to say, it's probably been about like 8 months since we broke up. In the first like 3, I was so sad, and I thought like, I was like, oh, we are getting back together. Like, I had that false hope, which was probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
So after that kind of went away, I felt better, and I would feel good and almost like forget about it all until he would message me again. He would like, it's almost like he knew when I was moving on, and then was like, and so it kind of, so it kind of just brought me back to that place again. But now, like, it's been so long, and this has been, like, we haven't talked. Also, like, I feel like one of the other things is I have a lot of guilt almost, because I know that when we were together, he would open up to me about so much and say like, I've never been able to tell people this, like, blah, blah, blah. And when he says, like, he's sick and, like, he has to go home and, like, things are hard, I know that he isn't talking to anyone about it. And I know I shouldn't feel, like, responsible for, like, helping him through it when, like, he chose to not be a part of my life. So, like, I can't just keep helping him. But I still do feel a little bit guilty and worried that, like, oh, but if something were to happen to him, would it be my fault almost?
Absolutely. And considering that it was only 8 months ago, pretty normal, regardless if it's a relationship that's involving romance or if it's a friendship. You're kind of trained your brain to care about this person. You care about this person, right? So even if, you know, you've gone your separate ways and you're giving yourselves that distance, you still do have the feelings there, which is normal, and it's part of being a human being. So you know, when you got to the point where you're able to distract yourself and separate yourself, you become happier because you're not thinking about it as much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when he messages you, that all comes back,
Mm-hmm.
and it brings you back to that place. So would you feel as though it would possibly be beneficial to just kind of maybe send him one last message and be like, hey, I'm sorry for what you're going through. I just don't really think that talking to you is beneficial for either of us. And then maybe potentially just kind of cutting him off, maybe removing his number, or kind of just distancing yourself a bit more so that you stop yourself from getting back into that position.
So actually last time I don't have his number anymore, and he messaged me on Facebook, is that how he contacted me, and I actually recently deleted him off Facebook, which is kind of like, now he knows I deleted him, which is a little bit, like, I feel a little bit bad for, but I had to do it for myself almost.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're not even friends. He still just messaged me. So it's like, I really don't have any contact with him at all. I think maybe he was feeling like sentimental or something and like sad, so he wanted to message me. But yeah, like I don't really know what to do with the guilt of the idea of him not being well, because one of the last times he messaged me and he was like, oh, like, I'm going through some stuff, like, I would really like to talk to you about it. And I was like, oh, like, I would still be here for you if I could. Like, what's going on? He was like, but I don't want to bring up any emotions. And I was like, well, why would it bring up any of my emotions? Like, it's been a while, like, I'm in a good place. And he was like, but it's about, like, somebody new, like a girl. And I'm like, is that really what you want to talk to me about? Like, I found it kind of, like, inappropriate and, like, a little bit, like, degrading. But, like, at the same time, then he just seemed so unstable and was like, oh, like, I only can trust myself anyways, like, I shouldn't be talking to you, blah, 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 I'll deal with it on my own. And then I was like, whoa, like, I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be dragged back into that hole with you.
It's like a switch.
Yeah, it's weird, and I don't really know what to do with it, and I know it's more of a him problem than a me problem, but it still affects me, and that's why I just wanted to talk about it.
For sure. So would you, theoretically speaking, say that you're at your happiest and your most, you know, mental health-wise, you're your best when you don't really have contact with him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. How, ideally, in a perfect world where, you know, you wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings, let's put that kind of out there, take that out of the perspective. If you could say something to him, what would you want to say? Like, if you had to send one last message to him and you weren't feeling that guilt, you knew that what you were doing wasn't going to impact him, what would you say? What would you want to say?
This is kind of nice. I would say that I'd probably just want to be like, yeah, we had so many good times in the past, but, like, they're in the past. Like, I don't know. I would want to tell him that, like, he was my best friend at one point, but, like, I've also never been so broken by anyone than by him. So I would want to say that. And I've almost always wanted to be able to say that to him, but I don't want to make things worse for him, so I just didn't say anything at all. But if I were to not hurt him, I would be like, yeah, everything was awesome, we were best friends, but you also broke me like nobody else has. Like, you just left me. And it, like, you can't keep coming back. Like, I can't be your friend. I can't be friends with somebody that can just break my heart like that, you know? And I don't think it's fair that he wants the benefits without the commitment. And that's just what I would say. Like, yeah, I want the best for you. I want you to be happy and healthy, but it has nothing to do with me anymore.
So what you just said sounds extremely realistic.
Yeah.
Extremely realistic. It's very human of you, once again, to care so much about how someone else is feeling, even when they hurt you so bad that you find yourself, you know, depressed. And, you know, every time they talk to you, it rekindles those emotions again. So my, you know, thoughts on this personally would be, like, what's the worst that could happen if you were to send him that? If you were to say, hey, I'm going to be here for you. Like, let's say, you know, with your health or something. Like, if you need someone to talk to you about that, go for it. But I can't, you know, on a, you know, relationship level, on a super personal level, I can't do this because it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you say you're moving on in another relationship, then why are you messaging me like this? You know, what would be, you know, the worst outcome of putting that distance there in your mind? Like, what would be the worst outcome that could possibly happen from this?
I would be scared that he would come back, like, spitefully. And, like, I think he would almost be like, this is my time of need and you're making it worse and stuff. And I just, for me, it's not worth it, I almost think, to tell him.
Mm-hmm. No, that's valid.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like you are going to personally benefit from saying anything to him, then don't.
Yeah.
Because really, when it comes down to it, the one person that you have and you've had constantly through this is yourself.
Yeah.
You need to take care of yourself. And at one point, he was taking care of you and you were taking care of him, and that's kind of hard to let go of.
Yeah.
It's sad to let go of. It is, because, you know, you were happy at the time and you want to be happy like you were then. But, you know, is it beneficial to keep talking to him? Is it really?
No.
Do you feel as though you're gaining something from it? Or do you feel like you're losing more than you're gaining? Okay. So what would be a goal that you would want to put on yourself, even if it's just for a week? Just a goal that prevents you from sliding deeper into that negative mindset that he brings up. Whether that be, you know, maybe like if he does message you, don't say anything, or maybe just staying off Facebook for a bit. Like, what would be something that's achievable, realistic, that doesn't have any finality to it?
Yeah.
So you don't feel pressured and you don't feel like you're giving anything up, but just something to give yourself some time.
I would honestly say, like, when I think about it, I would probably benefit from having no contact, and that includes, like, not rereading the message, because I've always been bad for that, like going back in and rereading it, and like then just I'm constantly bringing myself back down. Like, yeah, he sent the message, but I'm the one putting myself through rereading it, and I can make it worse for myself. Like, yeah, he upset me originally, but I need to be the one to like change it. So yeah, like if he does message me, don't answer it, but also just like delete the message so I don't reread it.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we reread things and we keep looking deep into them because we want to find more meaning.
Yeah.
Or we want to find what we want in the message. And when it's not there, it just brings us down even more.
Yeah.
That goes for a lot of things in life. Overthinking in general. Yeah. Which we're all bad at.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good idea. It doesn't have to be permanent.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to say, oh, I'm never talking to him again. Because you know what? When you have feelings for somebody, it's unrealistic to think that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can give yourself that time. You can say, you know what, this is my time to heal. I'm taking this time back.
Yeah.
I'm going to become more sound in who I am and how I feel about the situation so that I gain some strength behind this.
Yeah.
And then when this situation arises again, I'm more confident with how I'm going to handle it. And that's definitely something we can work on in the future. If you do feel as though you want to continue with the sessions, that's something we can do. We can work towards tools that you can have that will help you in situations like this. You know, if he does speak to you or message you again, how can you read through this, break it down, and analyze it in a way that's not going to be detrimental to your mental health? How are you going to read through this and process it properly? Because the last thing anyone wants is to be down in the dumps constantly over something as simple as, a text or a message. But that's just human nature. We do. We get attached to things like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's, if you feel comfortable with that, I think that's a really good plan because you seem very clear on what you want. Yeah. You seem very clear on what you need, which is great. You're already there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you already know what you want, which is fantastic. And it sounds very achievable, but it will take some time.
Yeah.
Which is normal and necessary. And I think you understand that you have to give yourself that time.
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, just talking it out, I feel like it made me realize that there aren't many options that would benefit me. Like, because in your head it's so easy to be like, oh, but this, but then like speaking it out loud, I'm like, I can't keep talking to him and like letting him have that power over me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, because you have other relationships in your life now too. I'm assuming like friendships,
Yeah,
family
of course.
members, and if we dealt with those the way that we deal with a negative relationship, it'd be terrible. It would be terrible, So it's just about learning how to have power over yourself, and about learning how to say, whoa, stop. How am I processing this? Am I processing this appropriately? Am I processing this in a way that's going to benefit me and benefit him? Because if you do, as humans, we do care about these people still. So, even when they're doing something that we don't necessarily agree with, we still want them to be happy.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like an appropriate way of going about it. And I do think the first step to that is just giving yourself some time. Absolutely. Like you said,
Yeah.
that's, you said it all. You're the one who sorted through this.
Thank you.
So, good for you for being able to talk about it. It's a big step. Thank you for sharing with me also.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so if you feel comfortable with that, if you want, we can go ahead and schedule another.
Yeah, I
for
definitely
next
think I
week.
benefit from this, yeah.
Absolutely, we can
Same
definitely
time?
do that. Yeah, we can do the same time. I have the slot open, so.
Okay.
Alrighty, is there anything else you wanted to touch on while you're here? It doesn't have to do with the situation, but if
No, I feel good. That's what I came in to talk about, and I feel like it's been resolved,
yeah,
at least for right now.
for sure, plan in place now, so we can take some of that stress off your shoulders. Alrighty?
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and get that set up for you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.